We have a special gentleman here in the audience by the name of Stan Moody. He was actually the prison chaplain years ago. And I would be honored if he would come up and say a few words about his advocacy group towards prison reform. Because there's a lot of problems with our prisons.
Thank you, Brian. I always begin my talks with some bad news and some good news. The bad news is that our dysfunctional government is running out of money. Good news is that our dysfunctional government is running out of money. We are empowered to change our direction. I've seen the criminal justice system from the inside. I was a member of the Maine State Legislature for some time, chaplain at Maine State Prison, and I'm now senior pastor at Columbia Street Baptist Church in Bangor, right in the middle of the action down there, where we deal with released prisoners' re-entry issues weekly. I recently published this book, Let My People Go, Following Jesus into Our Jails and Prisons. We're appealing to people of faith to get organized, get galvanized, and get into the fight. I want to start with one thing of lasting value, an obscure piece of wisdom from the prophet Amos. Away with the noise of your songs and your clatter. I will not listen to the music of your harps, but let justice roll on like a river, righteousness like a never-failing stream. You've heard the story, you will hear the stories this morning or this afternoon now, of broken lives because someone, somewhere, in some obscure office is making judgments on who is good and who is evil, and nothing in between, and that gap is narrowing with time. My thoughts go back to other innocent victims and forgotten in the miscarriage of justice, the taxpayers of the state of Maine. 1 in 3 have been directly touched by the criminal justice system that costs $300 a year for every man, woman, and child. The moms and dads and family members of the incarcerated who are politely shunned by friends and neighbors. Kids whose dads and moms have been swallowed up in the system, often over petty, victimless crimes. One of the saddest scenes that I ever witnessed was in the late evening at the Kennebec County Correctional Facility, a dad and 2 little children coming into the facility to visit mommy. Overworked prosecutors who are held to a standard of closed cases and convictions where human lives have been reduced to mere numbers on a sheet of paper. 2,000 persons at any given time who are sitting in our county jails waiting for something to happen, and all they get to see is a private contractor, a 19th century county bail commissioner. Sign away your constitutional rights against illegal search and seizure, and you can go home. And gone is the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. Correction officers who desperately seek meaning in their lives through their work but are treated, for the most part, as just one notch above those for whom they are responsible. Employees in the correctional system who discover too late that the future is closed to those who refuse to compromise their integrity and join the old boy system. The folks who work at the Department of Corrections, the fastest growing agency in state government and widely known as having the lowest morale of state workers. A culture of fear keeps them spending most of their time covering up instead of finding ways to do better. The county commissioners whose jails have been commandeered by the state that will pay them $22 a day for a service that costs the county $90. And then there are the unsung victims who never will be heard from again. The homeless man in Portland, who after 3 days in Portland was arrested and charged with rape and convicted without a shred of physical evidence or eyewitness testimony. His meager belongings were ransacked without warrant. And at his sentencing, the prosecutor told the judge that he had no redeeming qualities. Who makes these kinds of judgments about any human being? Will you and I be next? They gave him 30 years. He will go out of Maine State Prison feet first. Sheldon Weinstein, whom you've heard about, in solitary confinement, who asked me to get him a roll of toilet paper and died an hour later of a ruptured spleen. Linda, whose son, fully employed, stuck a rusty shotgun in his mouth one day and committed suicide because he was transferred to a probation officer who convinced him that her goal was to send him back to prison. The commissioner of corrections was not man enough to meet with her or to discipline that probation officer. The family of Spanish-speaking Victor Valdez, who was beaten by several guards in his housing, taken to solitary and died a few days later. He received no autopsy, no medical examination. His body was cremated, evidence gone. As a result of his death, we were able to pass a law that all deaths must be attended by a medical examiner, a no-brainer. There are victims of crimes that keep getting more and more bizarre through the actions of those who are marginalized as having no redeeming qualities. And their abusers rotate through the revolving door of prison life into the jungle to which we have consigned and categorized them. Yes, I have witnessed compassion among those charged with the care of our prisoners. Yes, I have seen valiant attempts within the system to restore and to rehabilitate. Yes, I have known the whistleblowers who have put their own careers in jeopardy in order to be true to their convictions and have made an impact. We are not lacking the ability. What we are lacking is the courage and the commitment at the top of the food chain to find a better way to win this battle. What we are lacking is the kind of commitment to transparency and accountability within this 19th century correction system that will bring the best minds together to attack the underlying social causes. As a pastor and a theologian, I'm convinced that time is running out on our failed attempts at human engineering. What is needed is spiritual renewal. At the very time that the church has little or nothing of substance to offer. And there is, in fact, enough sin to go around for everyone, right? Even in the church. So away with the noise of your songs and your clatter. I will not listen to the music of your harps, but let justice roll on like a river, righteousness like a never-failing stream. Thank you, and God bless.